well, how is the post or this idea or message that we're going to get across actually helping them with what they need help with? Because you guys uncovered a lot of different things on Udi's social media that they might need to improve, but not all of that is going to be helpful with the communication problem. So now you need to focus in on the things that you think they really need to work on in order to help them spread more awareness and create more engagement around some of these Good in the Ud projects, right? More than anything. But then you draw on all of that information that you have. So that will then lead to this idea and message, right? Oops. For what you actually want to say. So with every post, right, you should be thinking, well, when the target audience see this post, what will they actually be thinking or doing, or, you know, how is this going to be interesting for them or not? How is it going to be adding value to what they're actually doing? So that's what we're really aiming for here. Now, when we look at the content calendar template, has anyone had a look at this yet? No? All right, so it is in the Week 7E content, but it is also on Blackboard in the Assessment 2 folder. So I'm just going to show where that lives really, really quickly, just so everyone knows. So, okay, so if we go to the Assessment folder and we head to Assessment 2, you'll see that there is a template here. So there's one for the final strategy, and then there's one for actually creating the content calendar as well. So when it comes to actually creating that content calendar, let me just open that up as well and share that. Let's just see. Okay. All right. So when we're looking at this content calendar template, obviously you guys will need to add rows to this, right? So it's not going to be just 5 rows. You can edit the colors and everything however you want to. I honestly don't care. As long as it makes sense and as long as it's easy to see what you've done. I'll show you my thinking for the Uber example that I've created, but there are many different ways to roam. So there are many different ways that you could choose to do that. But with the content calendar template, it briefly explains what the expectation is for the different sections, right? For the different headings that you've got in the template. So I would, regardless of how you organize it, you are going to, at the top, include a brief description of the key attributes of the target audience. Just as a reminder, you have that in the target audience section as well, but this is more key summarized, right? So with the Uber example, that's women looking for a flexible supplemental income, right? That's kind of the key. We have lots more details about them, but that's like the essence, right, of what we're trying to target. So you guys should be putting in here what the essence is, and that relates a little bit to that SMART objective, right, that we worked on in tutorial this week as well. You'll put in which platform. So is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? Whatever platform it is. You'll select 2 to 3 social media platforms for your calendar. I don't care, again, if it's 2 or if it's 3. What I care about is your justification for why those platforms. Okay, so that's the important bit. In terms of what days are you actually posting, what times, those are fairly standard, right? Types of information. For the content, I'm really looking at, are you looking at creating an image post with some text? Are you looking at creating a short video? If so, roughly how short is it, right? Is it a longer video? Is it a live stream? Is it a story? Is it a poll? Is it something else, right? Type of what is it, meme or a GIF or whatever it might be that you've thought this will be some engaging type of content. So there should be some detail here so that I can see what that is. For the communication objective or the message, we're really looking at what it is that you're trying to communicate to the target audience. So this is where you'll need to do a bit of thought, right? Some of these other bits here, they're easy. They're fairly straightforward. You can find references for it as well, just using the census report, to be honest, for times and platforms and those types of things. But where the biggest challenge is the communication objective and the message. So are you looking at what is the actual purpose, right, of the post? So that's what we're looking for there. And then with the activity, it's more, what is it that you're trying to communicate? So you're trying to entertain them? Are you trying to give them information about something? Are you trying to make them more aware? Are you trying to do something else? It could be a bunch of different things. Could be a combination of things as well sometimes that you're trying to do. All of that is fine because your calendar will have a combination of things, right? So even if your overall aim, right? What was the overall aim for the example? I'll look at it in a moment. But even if your overall aim is to create awareness about something specific, that doesn't mean there's not room for other types of posts that together with everything else feeds into that, okay? So a great social media strategy has a lot of different ideas that combine that to bring the target audience in and create that engagement. So that means not every post has to be, something about the project, good and the good. Some of it could be issues surrounding or asking the audience for feedback or getting them to engage in other ways. And then in combination with everything else, that will help you achieve your aim. The notes, you might not fill this in for all of your activities, but it's just if there's anything additional that you think I should know for context of your post in order to understand what this is, then you can add in that in your notes here. So if we have a look at the actual templates, so let me just open that up as well. So we can find the example in the week 7 e-content. I'll pop it into the assessment folder as well. But let me just open that up. So I'll just share that screen. 1 minute. Okay. All right. So this probably looks a little bit daunting, right, when you're looking at all of these activities. The thing is, though, the idea and the message is fairly similar throughout the calendar. It's just lots of different ways of doing it. Some of the content is a little bit similar as well, because over the stretch of a month, you're not going to be reinventing the wheel with every single post, right? You can't just copy the same post again and again and again either, but there's definitely room to tweak it slightly, right? And take the same type of idea or information and repurpose it in new ways. So some of the ways that that has been done here is that the live broadcast, which is the bit that's highlighted in yellow, has been repurposed into short YouTube video clips later on, right? So that you take maybe some of that information that was from the live broadcast and you edit that into a video clip. And so you repurpose that information and use it in a new way, right? In a different social media platform. So I'd be expecting you guys to do similar things. The way that this has been organized is I've organized it by platform, right? For each week. So you can see there's a heading for each week. And then I've got it organized by platform. If you wanted to do it the other way and organize it by day and then have the different platforms that it's done for, that's fine as well. I have had teams in the past who have had a focus for each week throughout the calendar. So they might have had okay, this week we're really focusing on this thing, and then we're going to build on that for the next week to do this other activity and focus on that for the different weeks, which would be fine as well. Okay, so how you do that depends a little bit. What I do expect, though, is a combination of posts, right, across the different platforms. So you can see here I'm not using YouTube as much as I'm using some of the other two, because YouTube is more there to host and support some of the video content, right, that I'm actually feeding into these channels where I'm being more active. It could be for you guys as well, that maybe one of the platforms you're not using as often as some of the others, right? Up to you, what you think is the best combination here as well. So if we just have a look at the example, we've got, so for this example, right, the target audience, are women looking for a flexible supplemental income. That's like the key characteristic. This is for Uber. The overall aim, as you guys might remember, is to attract more female Uber drivers, right, to the company and engage with them on social media. So we've decided, well, we're really going to focus on the women that are looking for a flexible and supplemental income, because research, as we know, showed that that's what the majority of these guys really want, and part of the reason why they drive for Uber. So one of the ideas in order to do that is the bit here that's highlighted in yellow. So let me see if I can just zoom in slightly. It's just, yeah, too much. Maybe I can, yeah, okay, we've got it here anyway. So I've got this idea here for a Tuesday, which I would, suggest in my justification why it's happening then. But I've got a live broadcast. It's happening on Facebook. It's happening on a Tuesday at 5 p.m. In terms of the communication objective, well, the real focus here is on the passion for the job and what it looks like working for Uber, right? So that's the message that I'm trying to get across. That's what I'm trying to communicate to the target audience. The way that I'm doing that is it's going to be, I see this as being a combination of both information and entertainment, right? More information than entertainment, but hopefully that it will be a little bit entertaining as well for the guys that are actually doing this. You can see I've also added, it's going to be a driver takeover, and I've added the hashtag that we're going to be using for this as well, for example. You guys might have some ideas for hashtags as well. I've added in the notes what it actually is, just to give context for what it is that I'm imagining. As you can see, I haven't done that everywhere, only where I think that's needed. So I've got what it's actually going to be is a female driver takes over Facebook for an hour and shares her experience and thoughts via a broadcast, right? But this idea of focusing on the passion of the job and what it looks like working for Uber is repeated in a lot of different ways throughout the calendar. So that message around the passage, this really great working for Uber, I'm really passionate about doing this. These are some of the tips and tricks, and this is how it works. That idea, that message is repeated through a lot of other activities that we got here as well. There's a video about how flexible it is to drive for Uber. That's more on the informing and educate side. I think maybe there's a poll in here somewhere as well, a quiz. And this is what type of Uber driver are you? That I imagine would kind of link to, once you've answered it, it will link you to, well, if you're this type of driver, you should consider this if you want to drive for Uber, or here are some good reasons for doing that. But all of that is coming back to that basic idea, right? So it's kind of the same idea that is being repeated in a few different ways through different types of content and ideas in the calendar. So if you've got a really good direction for what your message is, what is it that you actually want to say to the target audience, it will make it a lot easier to come up with some of those different ideas as well. Okay. Any questions so far? I'm looking at that. No? So when we kind of examine this a little bit, you can see there's a few reposts, right? Where maybe I've just changed the focus slightly, or if I had a video, there's a shorter video, a longer video, those types of things where I'm combining some of those ideas. And then together that's creating like the whole campaign period that I've focused on for the client. So let me just get back to my slides here. One moment. So when we're coming up with ideas, there's a bit of inspiration in this week's e-content. Okay, so have a look through some of this week's e-content as well. I've also broken down some of the information from that week 7 reading in this week's e-content in terms of the difference between positive contributions and co-creation and how to create engagement around some of those things with examples. So make sure that you have a look at that. But there's a bunch, this is just some, right, ideas of what you could actually be doing in order to help with the same message, right, with the same idea. So you could turn a blog post into a video, for example. So that means you'd have one content where you're actually posting the blog post, the next one where you're taking those ideas and maybe turning some of that into a video on maybe another social media platform. You could create a how-to video, right? You could go live like what I suggested in the example here. You could interview someone live as well, right? If you wanted to. You could curate user-generated content. So you could encourage contributions from the target audience in terms of something that you're doing as well. It could be that you have a GIF. Maybe some of these are a bit more funny, right? Maybe some of it is like it's a light-hearted GIF or a meme or something just to create that relatability with the target audience for some of your posts. You could have relevant infographics or charts if you think that's going to be helpful for your message. As well, you could poll your audience. So that could be asking for their opinion on something, or you could get them to share what they prefer, or you could even get their feedback and do something with that feedback as well, right? Where you're getting their insights, and as a result, something will change. You could ask, and that sort of relates to, you could ask questions, right, for help or anything like that. You could obviously add in emojis and symbols and all of these other types of affordances that we've talked about as well. It could be sharing some sort of information. So maybe there's something on Udi's webpage that you want to be sharing and repurposing a little bit, and you come up with an idea for how to do that. So what we're really looking for when we're thinking in the calendar is what those ideas actually are, right? What direction you think it will take. And just to be clear with what that message is, what is it that you actually want to communicate with the target audience? That's going to be really important. And keep in mind that it needs to relate to the communication problem, right? So it needs to be something that helps the client with the communication problem, but that should be fairly straightforward, because if you create a good SMART objective, which relates directly to the communication problem, that means for your calendar then, right, you kind of have this in the back of your mind. So for the calendar that's been created here as the example for Uber, the overall objective, right, so the broad objective is attract more drivers, right? Attract more drivers, female drivers to Uber. But the actual SMART objective is to achieve a 15% increase in awareness of the Uber Driver Partner Program to women seeking flexibility and a supplementary income. So that means now I have quite a bit of focus for my calendar, right? I'm looking at creating awareness about that program in itself, but I'm also going to be doing quite a few activities in terms of highlighting the flexibility, right, of driving for Uber, and also how that can help with the supplemental income for this specific target audience that I've got in mind for these women. So I thought we might do a little bit of practice with how to actually do this. So what I've got in mind is if you guys could head to the week 8 on Blackboard. I'll just show, I'm going to put the Padlet into the chat as well. But if we go to week 8 on Blackboard and under workshop, you can see the link there as well to the Padlet. So I'm just going to share that Padlet. Here it is. So we're in this tutorial. So you'll post, no, not tutorial, workshop. So you'll post your ideas here. I've got some instructions here, but I'll go through them. So what I want you guys to do is basically just download this worksheet. Now, pay attention because I'll show you how. Okay, you just click on it, click on the 3 dots, and it will have download attachment. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that for a second. So you just click on the image at the top of the Padlet with the instructions. Then you click on the 3 little dots here and download attachment, because you can see it here, but you can't edit it when it's here, okay? What I want you guys to do in your groups, though, you can just work in one document together, is to brainstorm other ideas for this SMART objective, right? So I just gave the example of a live post, right, of a live streaming. Try not to copy the content calendar I've already given, because there's heaps of other things that you could have chosen to do. But what I would like you guys to do is to brainstorm some possible messages or ideas, right? First, think about what would the message be, right? What is it that you want to get across to the target audience based on this objective? And then I'd like for you guys to fill out one idea for the content calendar, okay? So thinking about, all right, so what platform would you choose? You could use the census report for that. I've added that to the Padlet as well in choosing the platform, but don't spend a lot of time on that, because what I'm really interested in is what type of content, right, would you actually suggest that they post? What would the message be, right? And what would the activity be? It's not perfect. This example here, you might need to edit it a little bit. What I would like for, because it won't fit everything in just these boxes, but what I would like for you guys to do is, once you've got it, you can just re-upload the document and put it in under here. So you just click on the plus and then just re-upload the document. And then we can go in and have a look at what you're working on as well and what your ideas might be, just to make sure we're on the right track, that you've got the same idea for what type of things you need to put in under the different headings, and also making sure that it actually fits with the communication objective and what we need to do. So I'm going to put, well, Altavino, I can see Noddy just disconnected here. So Altavino, you're on your own. But I'm interested to see what you can think of, though. All right. So I'll just leave you here in the room with everyone else, and have a bit of a go to see what you can think of. If you have any questions, so just remember, you can click on the document, click on the 3 dots, download the attachment in order to do that. Okay. So I'm just going to pause the recording while you guys work on this. So Altavino, just give it your best shot, right? We'll compare. And then for you guys, we can have 2 groups, right? So just work together and see what you can come up with. Message idea, and try to fill out that little template. So as you guys can see, I have the report is here. I'll put in the calendar template as well, but this is the one that you're working on. So download it, have a think, have a bit of a discussion. What could you actually do? For this target audience and this objective for Uber. You guys got any ideas? No?
My brain is fogged.
Try to brainstorm a little. It doesn't have to be the most, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? It doesn't have to be the newest, most amazing thing that ever happened. It just has to actually work towards the communication objective, right? Same thing with you guys. Any ideas immediately? No? Maybe think about what would these, so if you're thinking these women with a flexible and supplemental income, right?
But just related to
What could you
the
post about?
concepts of women working.
What would you want to say to
like,
them? What
living in Brisbane,
would they be interested in knowing?
And then like that concept, and it doesn't have to relate to like, oh, they have to drive Uber, and then just something really.
What do you guys
How
think?
would that attract them to work on Uber? Because we're doing this for Uber.
Yeah, no, but like at the end, then it's like an ad.
Sorry?
Do you know what I mean?
Maybe
Because, like,
not
when they watch, it's like,
healthy.
what's going
Maybe
on,
we
what's
focus
the
more on
purpose
the,
of ad is this,
you know,
and,
they
like,
want
they
something
they
flexible
are
and supplemental income.
able to
right?
kind of, like,
They have
relate to
children,
people.
so there could
I'm,
be
like,
something
I'm between
there
them,
about,
living,
you know,
like, living in Brisbane,
having children and
having
working
children.
or anything like that,
um,
right?
like,
So think
these are my
about
struggles, and these
These
kind
types
like,
of people, the
funny.
ultimate goal, right,
Oh, I
is
can
to
relate
attract
that.
them to Uber
And
and create a
by
bit
the
of
end of it,
engagement
like,
on
my
their social
friends
media
was-
pages. But if we look at some of the information here, you know, they're women,
It's like,
they want
Why
something
don't we-
flexible, they have children, they're looking for a supplemental income, they
but
have
the
their
whole
own
thing doesn't
car.
have to be related to
What
why
could you,
driving
what
Uber
could do you
is
think you
good.
could say to
Yeah.
them that would convince them that, yes, driving for Uber is a great idea?
Have you all been seeing the Uber ads on YouTube?
Yeah.
You were like just doing
Yeah.
a date and then they just
Oh,
were like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
could rather be driving.
Yeah.
So
I
it
don't
could
get
be,
that.
what about flexibility? What is great about
But
Uber and
it's short
flexibility?
and simple. So I was actually thinking, what if it was a short video
Yeah,
of this mom?
so
in a
you
car
could focus your
picking up her
message
kids from
on
school,
whenever
and
you
they're, like,
want.
fighting and making
right?
noise in the background.
That could be something with the
And then
idea
it
and the
just shifts
message,
to her
right?
driving with a peaceful
So what type
passenger,
of post then?
and then
would
the
that
same
be?
ad like comes up. That could also be funny.
Something like that. Like,
You want to tell them you can do, you know, you can
Doesn't
drive
have to
whenever
be
you
But
want.
related.
like, what would the message?
Because
be?
there's many different
You
ways
find
that you could
a message.
get to that, right?
Like
You could
financial-
have an informational post where you
But it's a
have like an
simple-
image and
or
text and,
like, so for
you know,
example,
give some
like,
information about how you can do
with-
that on Uber.
with children is that they don't work.
You could
What
ask
would the
them,
message be? It doesn't have to
what
be
do they want, right?
Mm.
What is important for you in terms of flexibility?
We phrase that.
You could have something funny, right? Relatable for women with children, like, you know, oh, aren't you sick of just always, you know, you have all of these things to do and you never get time for actually earning extra money. Well, Uber is here for you, you know, whenever you actually need it. You know, pick up a ride on the way home from dropping your kids off at school, drive for a couple of hours, then go meet your, you know, there's lots of opportunities. See if you can pick something. Okay, I've given you lots of things to work with there.
Just be, what would you say? Be the typical type.
What about you guys? What have you got?
We're thinking of like having just a little short video that is not even related to Uber.
Yeah.
Or will be related, but like the whole first, like say 40 seconds is
Yeah.
not going to be related, but it's going to be related to like that target audience.
Yeah.
Like having children like between those age and so on. And then by the end of it, we're kind of like, hey, Uber offers you that, and then you doesn't, and then our message is kind of like beat that kind of stereotypical type of saying women with children don't work or kind of
yeah.
work of because
Yeah.
of flexibility. So like Uber can beat that.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Right? That could be a really great post. So see if you can put it in to the template, right? And we can have a look at it as well. All right. So that's a great starting point. For you guys as well, just try to think, there's many things, right, that I just mentioned. And Altavino, I realize you're here with us online. So same thing, just do a bit of brainstorming, and once you're ready, put it up into the Padlet as well. It doesn't have, you would have heard all the ideas that I already told the other guys here. So just let me know if you have any questions though.
But is moms not working a stereotype?
In that age group.
Is it?
Usually like we use this term of SAMH. Oh no, SAHM. So like staying at home mom. So like you can say like stay at home mom is more than it doesn't have to be at home.
Just checking if there's anything on here yet, but there's not. So as I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? But put in what you've got. Which platform do you think you should be posting on for these guys?
What's it doing?
What do you guys think? What could you do?
Maybe the platform is Facebook. Because
Facebook?
It's 30,
So use it.
39 years old. It's
Yeah.
really old.
Yeah,
No, Facebook.
absolutely. So Facebook could be a great platform.
Facebook.
Right. You could have chosen Instagram as well, for example. It would work well for this age group too, but Facebook is fine. What time do you think you'd post it? Afternoon? Yeah. After they've,
But before they pick up their kid.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you could do it either, right, in the middle of the day or probably after, everyone's had dinner and all of those types of things. Could be good times, right, for the post. What kind of post would you choose? Would it be an image, a video, or a poll, or a GIF, or a meme, or whatever it was? A video?
Maybe the video.
Yeah. How long? Like a short one, long one?
30 seconds.
30-second video? Yeah. All right. What's the message going to be in the video?
A woman for flexibility, and maybe like the video can like show that they're driving to school to like pick up their kid.
Yeah.
Pick up the kid.
Okay. So there's a few different things that you could do with that. It could be like what it's like. It could even be like a short snippet of a day in the life of, a female Uber driver with kids. And then it could be like a 30-second video that shows just cut together clips of, dropping off the kids, then driving for Uber and yay, super fun, super flexible, seeing the money, tick up, and then sort of picking up the kids again. And it's like Uber works for you, flexibility. I don't know what your core message would be, but something like that. That could be a great idea. Right? See if you can capture it in the thing and then post it. How are you guys going? So you had a pretty clear idea.
Yeah.
You done?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Wednesday. Why Wednesday?
Because TV is Wednesday.
it doesn't really matter what day it is. I mean, for some activities it might. So if you have like a big event, you might want to think about what day that is happening on so you can have the most people available. But in terms of general posts, you'll find a lot of information on social media about what times and days you should post. And most of it just depends. Honestly, a social media manager, you can't tell until you have the data on the platforms. You guys won't have that, right? So a social media manager would be looking at how people are currently engaging with on their platforms and the days they're the most active and choose from then, right? But we don't have access to that data, so we kind of just have to make some educated guesses, right? Did you guys think about a time?
Yeah, like 1
p.m. Yeah, 1 p.m. is good. Stay-at-home moms, I'm assuming that stands for, yes. To work, a relatable video of a typical mom life and how they can be doing something for themselves. Oh, I like that message. Doing something for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be, and imagine all the other posts that you could create around that, right? Doing something for you. You could ask questions. You could have quizzes. You could have informational posts, right? You could share experiences. So many things you could do around that message. Yeah, great idea. All right, put it up on our Padlet if you haven't already. And we'll have a look. Altamina, I don't know if you managed to get anything, any ideas off the ground. If you did, put them on our Padlet as well. I'd love to see our ideas. So I'll just give you guys and the other guys as well put up, let's see. Yeah, Altavina's given me a thumbs up. So let's just see. I'll just give you guys a minute to put it up there. So once I've got a few up there, I'll just start the recording again and we can have a look at our ideas because I think they're a little bit different. But as I said, there's many different ways to row.
You can drag it down.
Let's touch it video.
I just published it. That's just the picture of the phone.
Flexibility.
Okay, we've got one up here, the girls group. Okay, I'm just waiting for the rest to be posted as well. All right, so just still put it up, just put it up under with the plus sign here, but we'll have a look at the first one while we wait for the other ones to pop up as well. So I should be able to access it from here. Yes, excellent. Okay, so the target audience is obviously the same target audience that we had already described, which is why I get you in the actual calendar to just put it up top because it's the same for all your different posts. But so you guys chose Facebook. Is there a reason why you chose Facebook?
Because of the age group.
Because of the age group, yeah. So 30 to 39. Research does show a lot of them use Facebook, right? Are there any other apps you could have chosen?
Probably Instagram.
Instagram, absolutely. The age group is actually among the most heavily represented on Instagram. Surprise, surprise.
Snapchat as well.
Snapchat, absolutely. The only people that are still active on Snapchat is this age group. So, well, maybe a few other outliers, but not many, I promise you, right?
I think my age gap is like, I'm like late 20s,
Yeah.
so like that's around my friends and
Yeah.
they're still on Snapchat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm in this age bracket and I get Snapchats all the time that I never look at because I forget. And then I have to go through a million of them that are like 3 weeks old, right? So
I just don't reply.
it's because I hate Snapchat. It's because you have to have audio on and I never have my audio on. So I can never watch them. Yeah, I know, but it's no fun watching them without audio. So yeah. Anyway, so we could have chosen a few different platforms. You could have maybe made even an argument for TikTok, although the group isn't heavily represented on TikTok, if it fits with your specific target audience and you have some evidence that they're there as well, then that could work. I mean, we could have chosen to do something on Pinterest. None of you, like Uber, maybe not. Like Pinterest is probably not super relevant for Uber unless we manage to hook into mum culture, because there's a lot of mums on Pinterest though. So,
Yeah, but
you
it's
know,
not like,
it would be hard. It would take a little bit of work to get there, right? If we were going to do that for this group. So we've got encouraging stay-at-home mums to work, right? It's going to be video. How long do you think the video should be?
don't think it's longer than 1 minute.
Yeah, roughly a minute.
Yeah, you
Okay,
want to be
that's-
straightforward.
Yeah, that's fine. We're looking for like a ballpark figure. Is it going to be 1 minute or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or an hour? You know, good to know. What I really liked about this activity was this bit here. So I was just telling the group, doing something for themselves. So that's a really strong message, right, for this group. So in terms of doing something for you, that's a little bit of a different take, right? A different approach to these. There's lots of other things you could have focused on that would have also been fine. But there are so many things that you could do with that, as I was saying, because that message, it could be a video like this with a typical mum life and a relatable video, but it could also be so many other things. It could be, you know, what do you do for yourself? You could create all kinds of relatable posts. You could ask questions. You could have polls. You could have competitions, right? You could create all, you could even do things with memes, right? Create some relatable doing things for yourself as a mum. There's heaps of opportunities around that message. And I think what that just shows is if you have a really good, strong idea or message, then those other bits become a lot easier, right, to put into place. So we don't have a lot of time, so let's just have a quick look at the other one as well that we've got here. So this one was also on Facebook. Is that you guys? Yeah. So this one was also on Facebook. After they pick up their kids, a little bit of flexibility. It's another video. How do you imagine this video being? Like, how would it run? What would it be about? Any idea?
Maybe just post the daily life that the target audience might be every day.
Yeah.
That is being tracked.
Because you were focused more on the flexibility,
Mhm.
right? Which is fine in terms of the message. So that message was more on the flexibility for the target audience. And we were talking about how, well, if you were going to go down the day in the life of, couldn't you edit together a really short video that shows them like dropping off the kids at school and then woohoo, driving for Uber, you know, for a few hours and everything that they do? You could even see, if you did the video, you could even have like the dollar sign increasing, you know, you're getting your monies and you're earning that and you're really flexible. Then you could show, hey, I'm going to go have a coffee with a friend, you know, and then I'm going to pick up my kids after school again. And do that as a really great little a day in the life of video, right? That focuses on the flexibility. And there's tons of things other things that you could do, right? And even with a day in the life of as an idea, lots of other types of content that could relate back to that as well, in terms of like a Q&A, right? That was, or something like that. What does a day look like? So many opportunities for you guys with that as well. And I don't know if we got the final one here. We did. Excellent. So this one here was on Instagram, right? So as I said, Instagram would also be an excellent choice for this on the weekend around noon. Convince them to be an Uber driver, some photos about working time, flexibility, salary. So also sitting around that flexibility, and absolutely, right? So this could be another take on that video that you guys suggested, where you could be, I'd focus more on, rather than convincing them to be an Uber driver, I'd focus more on highlighting the positives of the flexibility, right? So just think about that, because if you do you should buy an hoodie, you should become an Uber driver. It's very salesy. It doesn't create a lot of engagement necessarily. People recognize quite quickly that they're being sold to. So I think if we're looking at the communication objective, yes, that is the ultimate goal, right? But maybe not for the particular post. It's what might happen after the post, right? As a result of the post. So instead, I would be thinking more about the message in terms of some of the things that are here, right? Maybe even one of those things to be the focus of that post. And then another post, you could focus on one of the other things, right? It could even be like a series. So with this one here, if it's on the weekend, right, you could have a series that ran over all 4 weeks. So every Saturday at noon for 4 weeks, there's a post that focuses on a different benefit. Right? And it could be, for example, the flexibility or the salary or the working time, any number of those things with your ideas. So lots of opportunities for what you could do with that one there. So that's great. Okay, great work. So we are running low on time. So I'm just gonna do a final message before I let you guys go. Let's just see. So I did mention this in tutorial, but just mentioning it again. Next week, I'm not here because I'll be off. I'll actually be in Stradbroke Island come this time next week on South Stratty because I have a Norwegian friend visiting that I haven't seen for ages because of the pandemic. So I'm on leave next week and in the mid-semester break, but Jake will be covering the Wednesday morning tutorial and the 2 workshops. So he'll be here in the workshop next week. You've had him already one of the weeks, so you already know him. And Michael will be covering the workshops on the tutorials on the Tuesday. So everyone here also knows Michael because you have him in a few other units as well. So you're in good hands with these guys. If there's any questions while I'm away, obviously direct them to them. I've put in the email addresses here in the slides as well, just so you've got that. Next week is a really important week because we'll take the next step of actually thinking of your ideas for UDI, right, based on that communication objective. And then we're going to look at the justifications as well for your content calendar, for that calendar that you're going to create. And we'll unpack the content calendar more as well and look at some of those strategies just a little bit closer than what we had time for today. So next week, just make sure you come prepared with your group, smart objective, and target audience so that you can continue the work and think about your own messages and your own ideas in the tutorial and in the workshop next week. So make sure you attend as a group for your tutorial. And that's it. You guys are free to go. We've got 6 minutes to spare. So I'm going to stop the recording and let the next heap in to the room. Good luck with your work as a group. I'll see you later, El Tavito. Nice having you there. And if there's any questions before I go and leave, send them to me this week, right? But there will be an opportunity when I return in week 10 as well. You all checked in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.